Coming up on OU Nightly, warmer temperatures will help to fuel a chance for severe weather early next week.
Plus, protests at the state capitol today. Hear why one group is angry at the state superintendent. And an update on the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. The new video just released. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Melina Samir.
And I'm Darian Curry. We begin tonight with breaking news from South Africa. A bus carrying Easter worshippers has crashed, killing 45 people.
These photos show the aftermath of the crash. We've learned that 46 people, including the driver, were on the bus, and there's reportedly one survivor, an 8-year-old girl. The Limpopo Department of Transport and Community Safety says the driver of the bus lost control and it fell nearly 165 feet off a cliff before catching fire. The South African government says the full inquiry into the crash is underway. We'll keep you updated as we learn more information. Just one day after the state medical examiner ruled Owasso non-binary student Next Benedict's death a suicide, protesters gathered outside the Oklahoma State Board of Education to oppose state school policies that they believe are putting the lives of LGBTQ+ students at risk. OU Nightly reporter Sydney Price has more on the story.
There was a sense of urgency among the protesters after Benedict's death was ruled a suicide. They believe that the rhetoric of State Superintendent Ryan Walters is making LGBTQ+ students targets of bullying, and they want it to stop.
We owe children, we owe students, we owe each other a duty of care, a duty of gentleness, a duty of concern.
These Oklahoma residents want to look out for the Oklahoma youth, especially those being marginalized.
So I guess I want to support I want to support the people here who are being marginalized and who are being attacked every day. You know, they should be able to dress the way they want and be the way they want and live the life they want. Everybody deserves to live their authentic self.
People like Sean Martin came out to support his wife, who is speaking out for the LGBTQ+ community and against those blaming them for predatory behaviors.
She's not going to stand for it, and I'm not going to stand for it.
They didn't get the crowd they were expecting today, but those who did show up said they plan on coming back to protest what they believe are discriminatory policies from the State Board of Education. Reporting from the state capitol, Sydney Price, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Sydney. The protesters are hoping to use their voices to put an end to anti-LGBTQ+ rhetoric in hostile school environments. Oklahoma's weather has been consistently changing these past few days.
OU Nightly meteorologist Braden Seo has more on what we can expect with these sudden temperature changes. Braden?
That's right, ladies. We're definitely feeling a lot more like spring out here. As you can see across the state, we've got most of us in those upper 60s to lower 70s, and that is sharply warmer than we were 24 hours ago. Over 20 degrees warmer here across central Oklahoma than this time yesterday. And with these warmer temperatures, of course, we got to talk about the allergy report as those plants start to bloom. Not too bad right now, trees in the medium category, but coming up in the show, I'll talk about some fire danger out west, plus warmer temperatures this weekend and even the chance for severe weather. Back to you.
Thanks, Braden. Tensions in Gaza rise as the Israel Prime Minister prepares the military for a large invasion. Sofia Cabrera has that and the rest of today's national and international headlines from the News Center.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has alerted the U.S. Congress of a quoted victory in Gaza in the next couple weeks. Netanyahu added that Israel will move into Rafah due to, quote, the country's existence on the line, end quote. On a phone call last week, President Joe Biden warned the Prime Minister of the operation's ineffectiveness. And the FBI is telling passengers on the Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 flight that they may be victims of a crime. That's according to a lawyer representing some of the passengers. The NTSB found that the jet left the Boeing factory with 4 bolts missing from a door plug, leading to the door's detachment mid-flight. The FBI has neither confirmed nor denied an investigation. And in New York, crypto entrepreneur Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to 25 years for massive fraud charges. The founder of FTX cryptocurrency was found guilty of fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering, and stealing billions of dollars from customers. Bankman-Fried is also expected to forfeit around $11 billion in assets. And the Federal Trade Commission is investigating TikTok for violating federal law. The agency is examining its data and security practices to see if individuals in China have access to U.S. user data. Darian, Melina.
Thanks, Sophia. Recovery efforts continue in Baltimore after the devastating collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Take a look at this. New video from a traffic cam shows just moments before the cargo ship Dolly struck the bridge. CNN's Cole Higgins has the latest on the disaster.
We're now moving from a recovery mode to a salvage operation.
Maryland State Police Colonel Roland Butler announcing Wednesday evening that recovery efforts for 4 people presumed dead after Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed in the frigid Patapsco River are on hold.
Because of the superstructure surrounding what we believe are the vehicles and the amount of concrete and debris, divers are no longer able to safely navigate or operate around that.
New traffic cam video shows what happened moments before that collapse. The data recorder was recovered from the ship Tuesday. National Transportation Safety Board investigators learning alarms went off 45 minutes after the ship left the terminal. The pilot sending a mayday call to shut down traffic. With dozens of ships headed toward the port now needing to be diverted, the focus is to rebuild.
The reality is that for all those jobs and for all the commerce that goes through the Port of Baltimore, opening that channel is the priority.
The collapse of the Key Bridge is a global crisis. The national economy and the world's economy depends on the Port of Baltimore.
But extreme weather conditions are making recovery efforts for this disaster tough.
I mean, it's cold. It's cold water. It's raining, and you have current. And all sorts of waterway challenges.
Restating Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg's statement, rebuilding won't be quick or easy. I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
The Start of Maryland made a $60 million funding request to the White House to help clean up the collapse and start rebuilding. There's a rare disease affecting dairy cows in Texas and Kansas.
How it could affect milk production coming up.
And a former Speaker of the House chats with OU students.
His message to young voters after the break. Former Speaker of the House Paul Ryan made a trip here to OU to talk to a group of student organizations. OU Nightly senior political reporter Noah Mack has how students reacted to his political advice. Noah?
Well, the former speaker took several questions from the audience, and the conversation revolved around what role young people play in an increasingly polarized political arena.
Please give a warm OU welcome for Mr. Paul Ryan.
Former Speaker of the House Paul Ryan may have represented Wisconsin, but he assured his Sooner audience that he has some Oklahoma ties, evidenced by his 2 dogs.
Do you know what their names are? Boomer and Sooner.
Ryan, who brands himself as an anti-establishment Republican, believes his party's commitment to Donald Trump is unsustainable in the long run.
And I think if we continue to go on that pace, we're going to repel more younger voters than attract, frankly.
And it's a message that broke through to Anurag Dore, a member of the OU College Republicans.
I believe in about 5 years, whenever Trump is kind of subdued, that's the future of our party, or that's what I hope to be the future of our party, someone like Paul Ryan.
Ryan also urged that the way students can change the course of American politics is by distancing themselves from their social media algorithms.
Drop the phone and go get yourself involved in civil society. So you got to do a lot to try and depolarize yourself so that that can be infectious and you can get a virtuous cycle going.
But senior Jude Shearer thinks that it isn't that simple.
It's easy to just say, oh, just turn off the phones, put them all away, and that can be good advice. From the political side, you can say it, but it won't happen. So it's like you got to work with that just a little bit.
And Ryan also implored students to surround themselves with people of differing perspectives and adopt a good attitude. Darian, Melina.
Thanks, Noah. Following the Q&A, the former speaker dined with students and faculty as part of the Presidential Speaker Series.
One school district is taking the day off for the upcoming solar eclipse.
The reason for the decision up next.
And warmer temperatures will lead to a chance for some severe weather across the state on Monday. I'll have more details coming up. Welcome back to OU Nightly. Here's a live look from our Weather Center cam, courtesy of the Weather Channel. And you can see the traffic is moving smoothly along Highway 9. And what you can also see is the trees are starting to bloom out. And these warmer temperatures will certainly help with that over the coming days. And looking at those current temperatures, we've got them up in the upper 60s under beautiful sunny skies. And this will continue for the next couple of days across the metro area. Once again, looking at the upper 60s to those lower 70s. Taking it out a bit further across the state, upper 60s, lower 70s, even some mid 70s up in the Panhandle. And across the region, we have quite the spread from the mid 60s up here in the St. Louis area down into the upper 70s across portions of western Texas. Current wind speeds right now not too bad in the Oklahoma City metro, but that will change over the coming hours into the day tomorrow. Looking at pretty gusty winds developing through the afternoon hours tomorrow, up to 30 miles per hour at times, and those will diminish into the day on Saturday. And that, along with some lower humidity, is why we've got a fire weather outlook risk here across portions of western Oklahoma, even getting into that critical category up in the Panhandle. And now, rain will be coming to the state on Monday. Just who sees what is a little bit uncertain at this point, but it's looking like this area right here, very near I-35, will be the dividing line between pretty good amounts and not so much. But there is a chance for some pretty hefty totals here across the portions of central and eastern Oklahoma on Monday. And Futurecast shows this. By Sunday afternoon, we could be looking at a few showers popping up, especially in the day on Monday. That's when we could have some severe weather coming through the state. And that's why we've got this slight risk here for a large portion of Oklahoma. A closer look at that shows that it's mainly from I-35 and eastward. The details still have to be ironed out, but we are looking at a chance for severe weather on Monday. Lows tonight will dip down into the mid-50s here across central Oklahoma, some 40s up there in the Panhandle. And then highs tomorrow will be very warm, getting into those 70s, even 80 degrees up in Guyman. And looking at that 7-day forecast, you can see we've got those gusty winds tomorrow, mid-80s on Saturday. And then your Easter forecast once again looks very warm, temperatures in those 80s. And then that storm system moves through the state on Monday with the chance for some severe weather before temperatures cool down quite a bit by Tuesday.
Thanks, Braden. Now, how should we best prepare for severe weather on Monday?
Well, you want to make sure your storm shelter is cleaned out. You've got the necessary supplies, flashlights, all that to keep you and your family safe.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Braden.
Of course.
Now, the total solar eclipse is less than 2 weeks away, and some schools in Kentucky are giving their students the day off. The eclipse will be happening in Kentucky around the afternoon dismissal time. One superintendent says that this is best for staff and students to be able to experience the eclipse safely at their houses with their loved ones. Now, the OU women's gymnastics squad is saying red, white, and boomer sooner as they add more national awards to their resumes.
OU Nightly's Emily LeBeth has more in sports.
And the Queens of the Diamond, OU softball, will take on a ranked conference opponent tonight. I'll have that and more in sports. Hello, I'm Emily LeBeth, and it's time for sports. Back-to-back Big 12 champions, #1 in the nation, highest team score in NCAA history. The list goes on and on for OU women's gymnastics. But with all of those accomplishments, they still wanted more. 6 Sooners secured 15 All-America honors from the Women's Collegiate Gymnastics Association. Jordan Bowers leads the squad with 5 honors. Audrey Davis and Faith Torres follow with 3 each. Kathleen Levasseur snagged 2, and Reagan Smith and Hannah Scheibel round out the honors with 1 each. And former OU defensive back and national champion Roy Williams was inducted into the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame class of 2024. Today, Williams made his first public appearance as an inductee, and he is grateful for this honor.
To be a part of Oklahoma history from here on out, I mean, it touches me just because it's like I'm deeply rooted. And so being a part of Oklahoma legacy after I'm gone, it's pretty cool.
Heading up north, unanimous number 1 ranked OU softball continues Big 12 play against number 24 Kansas. OU has won 19 straight games against Kansas, but KU has been on the rise, sweeping their last 2 conference series. The Sooners will play in front of a sold-out Jayhawk crowd, and the series swings into action tonight at 5 p.m. Switching to the mound, OU baseball continues their home stretch today as they face Lamar for a 3-game series. The Sooners are coming off a 10-0 win against Oral Roberts and barely remain in the rankings at number 25. OU faces the Flock tonight. First pitch is at 6:30 p.m. We mentioned the women, but the men on the mat are also racking up awards. Ignacio Yonkers was named back-to-back Specialist of the Year. Nico Hamilton became the first Sooner to earn Freshman of the Year, and Mark Williams earned his 15th Coach of the Year honor. Today's OU women's tennis match against Iowa State was no match for the Sooners. OU swept the series 7-0, and they travel to face Kansas next on Saturday. On the men's side, the Sooners take on the Toads of TCU at 5 p.m. The Rockets launched into OKC last night for an overtime thriller. Houston led in the second, but this Isaiah Joe poster slam gave the Thunder some momentum. Josh Giddey led OKC with 31 points, but it wasn't enough as the Thunder fall to Houston in OT 132-126. Darian, Melina.
Thanks, Emily. We have an update on a Pet of the Week adoption.
That's right. We have a new home for a furry friend up next.
Marion Brown at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Shawnee police say a suspect has been arrested following 2 attacks at the Shawnee Post Office. They say U.S. Marshals and Oklahoma City police arrested Lenny Stalin in Oklahoma City Wednesday. He's accused of assaulting and robbing 2 post office customers over the last 2 months. Shawnee police say Stalin was recently released from prison after serving time for fraud. Darian, Melina.
Thanks, Kamarion. Now let's give a big hand to Jasper. He was showcased on our recent Pet of the Week segment with OU Nightly's Abigail Franklin. He's now living with a local family with hundreds of acres for unlimited fun and a new friend, a mini Aussie.
There's also a couple kids for him to play with, which adds to his tail-wagging happiness. Be sure to watch OU Nightly on Tuesdays for your new potential furry friend as well.
Darian, it's so nice to hear that Jasper has a new home.
I agree. I'm so happy whenever a new pet gets a new family. Now, let's hop right into another look at our weather and our Easter forecast.
Thanks, Darian. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day on Sunday for all those Easter egg hunts. If you're getting outside, enjoying the weather, it's going to be a perfect day. We could have a few spotty, isolated showers toward the end of the day, but it doesn't look to be too heavy at all. But Monday, that could be a different story as we have a severe weather outlook. A slight risk is in effect for portions of central and eastern Oklahoma. So be sure to stay tuned to the weather on Monday as the weather could get pretty interesting at times. But taking a look at that 7-day, you can see we've got temperatures in the 80s this weekend. That storm system comes through on Monday, and then cooler weather by the middle of next week. Back to you.
Thanks, Braden, and thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Melina Samir.
And I'm Darian Curry. Be sure to watch OU Nightly live weekdays at 4:30. Good night.